Jamaikers? Yeah, man. I don't know if he's ever leaving Harvard, bro.
So all right, let's talk about that whole process. Like, how did you even get to like Harvard, the Ivy League? Like, did you ever think that you'd be playing in an Ivy League school? Like,
No, bro, not a chance. I was pretty good, man. So, probably top 100, 150 in my class when I was coming up in high school, and so I had a lot of offers. I got better and better as I went through high school, as I got older, so so I had a lot of offers. My first offer was from Duquesne University.
Duquesne.
I'll never forget. Yeah. Going into my sophomore year of high school, my reclass year. So I was like 15 years old. Man, I was like 15. I went to the Duquesne prospect camp, and I did my thing there, and it took me into the back office. I want to offer you a scholarship to Duquesne, and I remember I called my mom like, yo, they gave me a whole free ride to go to college. I'm going to Duquesne, Mom. And she was like, calm the fuck down, bro. But, yeah, man. So
where is Duquesne?
It's Duquesne, man. It's in Pennsylvania. I'm trying to think. Pittsburgh, yeah.
Pittsburgh.
I was almost at Philly, but it's in Pittsburgh, I believe. But yeah, man. So it started there, but then, just AAU and everything, it's a lot, but just continuously playing, I continuously got better. I was on really good teams, probably, top 15, 20 team in the country for AAU. So, the scholarships just kind of kept coming, and bigger schools showed interest and gave offers and stuff like that. But, the recruiting process really, for me, was a process. It was a long journey. I went into it pretty much just saying I wanted to go to a solid school for education with a good basketball program. But, I went into it the whole time knowing, okay, I'm in America, so I need an education. So I'm not just going there for basketball, but
right.
Harvard, never expected that. Quite honestly, I wanted to go to a school that basketball program was a little more relevant. And so I remember getting the first phone call from Harvard, man. I was standing right outside on the little patio of Brimmer and May, right next to Derek, my boy that I said played at Brandeis. And I get off the phone, and I just chuckled. I was like, yo, guess who just fucking called me, bro? He's like, who? I was like, Harvard, bro. I was like, yo, they even got a fucking team? Like, they asked, dog. You know what I mean?
I'm all set.
Yeah. So,
what were
that
your
was
top
pretty much
five?
that.
If you had what was your top 3 or top 5 of scholarships and where you wanted to play? Where was your mind?
I really like Stanford, Vanderbilt, George Washington. I don't know, just kind of schools that when I first went into it, I just knew they were good schools, educational wise, and they're in solid leagues, like Stanford, Vandy's Vandy.
Right.
But I mean, I had offers from a lot of schools. I probably had high teens, low 20s in offers, but that was because, I got better. So low majors and mid majors started recruiting me. Then, mid-high majors started recruiting me, and a few schools wanted me to do a post-grad year, and it's a whole lot of politics in all of it. But my biggest thing in recruiting was I would just really look for consistency. It's nice to go somewhere where you're wanted and valued, and so
sure.
I was very intellectual about how I went about it and took my time with it. I was pretty stubborn. I asked the same questions over and over and over. Like I'd ask, a coach from one school, all right, where do you see me fitting into your program? And I'd ask him the same shit 2 weeks later, and then I'd ask him the same shit a month later to see if his answer changed.
And did they?
You know what I mean? Yeah, plenty of them did, and plenty of them got cut off the list. You know what I mean? Like, for me, recruiting was the same thing as it is for when coaches are starting out their recruiting list, just looking for a reason to cut someone off. You know what I mean? Because you can only pick one. So, pretty much Harvard just came because he was so consistent. My mom and my coach were definitely in his corner. So,
yeah, I believe that.
And I think it helped that they were kind of a hometown school, because he was going there trying to rebuild the program and talking about me being kind of a big centerpiece of it. Not the only, but definitely a crucial part of it. And, the more I kind of took my time to think about my future and not just about my collegiate career, and the more I kind of thought about, Harvard, there's not many people that can say they were the first to do something at Harvard, and I'm on a few of those lists. So that was my mindset going in there. And I remember when I decided that I wanted to go there, I was at the BC Harvard game, and Jeremy Lin was fucking them up.
Jeremy Lin, that's right, dude. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, man, that was when he went off against BC, and it was him versus Tyrese Rice. I'll never forget. I was sitting a couple rows back, and I'm watching like, damn, like, this is his second year here, I think, and he's doing everything he said he wanted to do, in terms of, like, taking little steps towards making Harvard relevant again. And I feel like if he gets the pieces that he says he wants, me being a big part of that, I could really see it, coming into fruition, and we really could do something special here. So pretty much then I was like, damn, all right, like, maybe this is a school for me. So I called one of the recruits, Brandon, one of my best friends, Brandon Curry, and I was like, yo, I'm at the game. Are you watching this shit? And he's like, bro, I'm watching. And I'm like, what are you thinking, bro? Because we both had Stanford and Harvard on our list. And he's like, I don't know, man, I'm kind of feeling this Harvard shit. And I was like, yeah, bro, me too. Like, it might be the wave, So, it ended up happening, man. Full circle, it just ended up happening.
So you get brought in with Brandon Curry. Like, who else was in that recruiting class? Do you remember? It was you two?
So it was me, Brandon, Christian Webster, D. Geiger, and a guy, Jeff Georgadas. Yeah, man, we came in pretty highly touted, with a lot of expectations.
Yeah.
Best class, blah, 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 that Harvard had gotten in a while. And I think we did our fucking job our rookie years, man.
You got a lot of hype on that program. I mean, I didn't follow too much about Harvard at all before you went there. And your freshman year, when you started playing there, I got introduced to Jeremy Lin. And you guys went to... When did you win the Ivy League, and when did you guys go to the dance? Was that your sophomore year?
Yeah, pretty much sophomore to senior year. So, yeah, man, we came in, and Cornell was really good my freshman year. That was the year they went to Sweet 16, played Kentucky. And, but we did our thing. We got our ass beat by Cornell that year. They whooped our ass, man. One of the worst losses I've ever taken in my career. And, that was probably our most humbling experience that year. And we really just ran with it from there because we did our job. We realized how big games were just to play us. And, the next year it was just a bigger target on our back, and it just kept growing and growing and growing into what it is now. But it was a lot of hard work, a lot of faith in Coach Amaker, buying into a system. It was a lot of work that went into building Harvard up into what it is now.
Yeah,
Long nights and discipline, man.
He knew what he was doing. He played at Duke, right? He was a Duke. He was a Blue Devil.
He was. He played on the what was it, '86 championship team. But yeah, he played with Johnny Dawkins. He was, one of the first guys that Coach K brought in. So he helped kind of, build Duke to what Duke was now. He made Duke relevant. I know it's kind of hard to think of a time where Duke wasn't relevant, right. But he a OG. So
damn.
But yeah, he was one of those guys that made Duke relevant with Johnny Dawkins and those guys, and hell of a defensive specialist, man. Got defensive player of the year 2 years in a row as a point guard. So
what was his connection to Isaiah Thomas? Because I know not Isaiah Thomas that like Cleveland Cavaliers, ex-Boston Celtic Isaiah Thomas, like Detroit Pistons Isaiah Thomas, because he was in the locker room one time. You remember that?
It's basketball world, man.
That's true.
Yeah, we
right.
It's Harvard. It's basketball world. We've tons of people been in our locker room. From Isaiah Thomas, Spike Lee, all kinds of guys, man. So it was a hell of an experience, man.
All right, so senior year, I'm probably even before that. You go to the dance, you beat Cincinnati. Lose a close game to Michigan State, which I think they might have been. They were top 5 seed. Were they 1 or 2? Do you remember?
They were
4, maybe.
I can't remember. We were a 12 seed. We beat the 5, and then we played. So they might have been a 4 seed. I think they were
maybe,
4.
Yeah, that makes sense. So at what point do you like? I don't know what the recruiting process is or anything about the next level. But did you get drafted by Brooklyn? Was this like?
So, I don't know. So pretty much we lost to Michigan State. NCAA flies you out that night, pretty much. So we're pretty much on a red eye back home. Like, we think we flew out like really early in the morning or something. But regardless. That was when everything started for me. Like that morning, I remember we were on the bus ride after we landed, and all the seniors were in the back, and we were kind of just talking, and I was just like, "Yo, so what's up? Like, season's over. Like, this part of our chapter is done of our lives, pretty much, just like that." So, we were all just kind of talking, and I remember at that point, that was when taking the year off, and so the juniors are now seniors with me, and so my boy Laurent was like, "I'm done." he's like, "Yo, I got this." He's like, "Yo, I got this this job. This shit starting at a good salary.
Damn,
I'm good, bro. Like the grind. I'm just done with the grind. I'm gonna play men's league and fuck it up and." Enjoy my life with my girl, yo. The realest, most honest answer.
That's a wrap for me.
So yeah, and then everybody else was just like, yeah, we'll figure it out. And I was like, listen, I'm trying to make it. So I'm getting back to school, packing my shit up, and I'm leaving. I'm going to work out until all the pre-draft stuff. So I got back to school and I left, pretty much went to Vegas and started working out. After I signed with the agent and everything, so I got all that figured out and just left school probably a month and a half early, 2 months early. Just kind of did my work from abroad and got it done. And so that was kind of a big decision, just because it was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, taking Ivy League classes or whatever from abroad while working out for scouts and everything in Vegas, trying to get your shit ready.
Well, no, it was just training. So it was before all the scouts and all that stuff. It was just me. It was Jordan Morgan from Michigan, Langston Hall from Mercer, from the Mercer team that beat Duke in the tournament that year. So we all signed with the same agent, flew out to Vegas, and we were literally